Hey there, parents. Have you ever thought about your loved one with special needs moving out of your family home and into a home of their own? Well, I think this topic hits home with many of us. Today, our special guest is Amy Shope, a mother who has helped her son Dylan transition to independent living. She's going to share her heartfelt journey and the mission behind Dylan's house. Amy is the founder and director of Dylan's House, a nonprofit dedicated to improving the lives of individuals with autism. She's going to share with us the story behind the name, the impact of her son's independent living on her family, and the challenges faced by families raising autistic individuals, and the goals of Dylan's House. Please join us for a conversation on the power of love and community and learn how you might be able to help support the cause. Welcome, Amy.
Good morning. Thank you.
So let's just get right to it. Can you just start by sharing the story behind the name of Dylan's House and how it reflects your nonprofit's mission?
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me this morning. And I have an amazing son, Dylan, who's 22. And when he was 17, he moved out of our family home where he had been born and raised due to just some aggressive behavior and his team feeling the need for some more independence. So he moved out and he is not high functioning. So it was really hard to explain to him what was happening. So we started talking about mom and dad's house versus Dylan's house with picture stories. So that was 2018. And not to get like too far ahead of myself, but Dylan likes to talk in the third person. And he has said all along, "You don't love Dylan's house, buddy." And then he answers himself and says, "Yes, you do. That's where you live. You love Dylan's house." So when my husband and I decided to start a nonprofit last year, I didn't really feel that there was any better name than Dylan's house because of what this has enabled for our family and for Dylan's independence.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about how, how did you start the journey for independent living, and how did it impact your family?
Yeah, so we live in the Northeast Ohio area, and we had been using an agency through a waiver in Ohio to provide a small amount of care in our home. And as I continued talking to the owner of the agency, Dylan's neurologist, and the school that he attended, we all started thinking that the conversation should happen around Dylan's independence. So my husband and I started visiting supportive living homes in the area to see what might be a good fit for Dylan. And I give so much of the credit to the agency that we worked with, which is Iron and String Life Enhancement here in Youngstown, Ohio, otherwise known as ISLE, and Purple Cat is their day program. So that's who we use. And they facilitated finding a spot for Dylan that was not the end spot. It was not the ideal spot. It was 25 minutes away. It was a basement, small apartment in a home with 4 other individuals. So that is how it started in March of 2018, and it's currently different.
Yeah. So so talk about the challenges, because I'm sure it was hard to even get there. You know what I mean? Like what did you guys have to do in order to find a place?
Well, we visited so many places, and obviously this was like pre-COVID, so they had a little more options than they do currently because they had some more caregivers, which is always a big topic of finding caregivers and keeping them. But the challenges were, I would say, mostly dealing with the emotional toll of Dylan not understanding why, because of course, if he got to choose, it would be to live at home with his mom and dad and sister. That's all he ever knew. But Dylan was not toilet trained. He was 17 and he was aggressive and he had a really hard time because he couldn't keep a routine at home like he would have wanted, very regimented. So those are some things that have happened in the supported living situation. He's now toilet trained, and he has a lot of, as much as he wants to always come home with me. And as much as he says he wants to live with mom and mom wishes he lived with her, I feel like it was the thing that I needed to do as a mom to prepare
I
him
gotta
for.
back up. Wait, stop the presses or stop the camera. All right, wait. So now he's in his own home, or he's in Dylan's house, and now he's toilet trained. Awesome. Congratulations on that. Okay, I'm sorry. I digress, but that deserves a big congratulations. I'm sorry. So, okay, so wow. So it was something that you needed to do. And when I was prepping for talking with you, it made me think, because it is a really hard decision to have to. I mean, my daughter is 26, and I've had to go out and look at some of the home, and we were having aggression behaviors, and it was like gut wrenching. I was like, we just cannot. My husband and I, we cannot just keep living like this. I mean, we're going to end up dying. We can't keep this. So, anyways, we did look at, not to get off on my story, but it was hard. We haven't. So I'm very interested in hearing your story, because we haven't really gone that step yet, but we're open to it. So that's what I'm here. I'm interested in hearing more about what you have to say and how you managed it and how you got it to happen. So
It is probably the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. And, as being a parent in general, and let alone with special needs individual, I feel like it's just battle after battle. But my husband, it's funny that you said that, because my husband, I've been with him since I was 21 years old. We're 52. He came home one day, and this is like the part of the story that couple parts always like tear me up. But he came home one day after work, and, it was like a war zone, literally. Tables being flipped and holes being kicked in the wall. And we had a girl, a daughter, and she loved her brother, but he might hit her, or he pushed her down the steps one time. And my husband came home from work, I will never forget. And he looked at me and he's like, I just can't keep doing that. We can't live like this. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't keep doing this? And then the feistiness comes in. Well, we're not going anywhere, and Dylan's not going anywhere. So, but when I really did some soul searching on what he was talking about, it wasn't really a way for anyone to live.
I'm tearing up too, because I've been there. So
Right.
I didn't you have a daughter that lived there, but my mom was visiting, and it was like, oh my, I mean, what if she got her? Anyway, I'm sorry. So
I know.
I think it's real for a lot of families, and it's, what do you do? So anyways, let's move on. So you got a place. So tell us about that.
So in 2020, I said to my husband, I'm famous for always having these ideas. What if we buy Dylan his own house and we are the landlord? Instead of him living, the rent we paid was to the Catholic diocese. It was like a big older home with numerous individuals in it. And like I said, 25 minutes away, I kept begging my husband, what if we could buy a home closer to us? We will be the landlord. We can charge Dylan a very reasonable rent that he can afford, and I can control how the house looks. Because a big part of my mission, we say everyone deserves a place to call home, and they deserve a comfortable home. It doesn't have to be, top of the line, state of art home, but they don't need to be living in rundown places where none of us would want to live. So
I'm going to interrupt you just one second. You're right. Because when I was looking at home or looking at different things, that's what struck me, is none of them felt like homes. They felt like, even though they were houses, they felt like institutions. No pictures on the walls. Nothing was comfy, cozy. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out as well, because I totally agree with you. So
yeah, you totally get it. And, we bought this little Cape Cod. It's adorable. It took me a couple months to convince my husband. It took us a couple months to find it. It just needed some minor cosmetic work. And, we argued back and forth about, what did Dylan have? Does he need a new rug and new pillows? And yes, he does. And I hung pictures everywhere. And there's collages of like me and my husband and Dylan and my daughter, Anderson, all through his house, that the caregivers tell me that he walks around holding the pictures of all of us. And now he moved in January of 2021 to his new home that we own. And it has went phenomenal. He loves it. He likes to look out the window, and he lived in a basement before. He has a garden. He has a fenced in backyard. He has a finished basement that there's nothing down there because he likes to ride his scooter.
Wow.
So just a lot of things that as a mom, when I pull out of there from visiting him, I don't have to like cry the whole way home like I used to because I just feel better.
So let me ask you too, because that's not necessarily feasible for everyone. Like when you assume he lives by himself.
He does. I mean, he always has a caregiver, of course,
Okay.
24/7 care, different
Does the
shifts of
caregiver live
caregivers.
there?
No, they don't live there.
Okay.
They
So
work for the agency and they work different shifts. Somebody
okay,
works overnight, somebody works in the morning, afternoon. We would love him to have a roommate. That was kind of the original idea to help share expenses and just for companionship. But I'm trying to be really particular on the right fit so that it works out for both of them.
yeah, and I hear that's really huge. Um, so tell us about the mission. So Dylan is doing fantastic, and being toilet trained is fantastic. And I'm sure what other milestones or different things have you seen for both of you, for your family and for Dylan? Have you seen from this?
Well, yeah, Dylan is doing fantastic. He obviously has his moments like we all do every day. And there's, some regressions and then things get better. And I'm over there a lot and see him. But it really has been life changing for our family because I can be his mother and not his caregiver. And I was showering him and I was, he can't really prepare food or shower himself. I mean, he talks, he's amazing, but he just doesn't have the basic like safety understanding either. He would still dart out into a parking lot or across the street, like if you weren't right there with him. But it enables my husband, myself, my daughter to visit him and be his parents. We have just a small little home on Lake Erie, and he loves it. And he comes every other weekend with no caregiver, which is the highlight of my life because I get him all to myself.
Oh.
I
So
know.
so tell us the mission of Dylan's house.
Yeah.
What are your goals or what's the game plan?
So we started this nonprofit the end of last year. We're a 501c3. And what I said to my husband was exactly what you had mentioned earlier. I completely understand that not everyone can just go buy their child a home. We're all just trying to survive like day by day. So I said, what if Dylan's House nonprofit could do the same thing we did for our son Dylan? So we will be the landlord. We will be buying and building homes. We're going to start in Northeast Ohio, but I am a very dedicated person, and I know that we're going to take over as much territory as we possibly can because there's so much work to be done. So our mission is to provide housing for adolescents, young adults, and adults on the autism spectrum. And then we are also focused on really increasing caregivers into the profession by providing mini grants as a form of a little bonus to help supplement what they're making because we understand what a difficult job it is. So those are our two main goals. We were blessed to have 2 acres of land donated to us out here in Youngstown, Ohio by the Autism Society of Mahoning Valley. They really have partnered with us. They understand our mission, of course. So we have the plans for our first home. And we are in the process right now, just through fundraising and possible lending solutions, to be building our first home.
Wow. Congratulations. Now, I have a question because obviously the magazine, we're not just autism. I mean, my daughter does have autism, but we kind of help. So would it be open to, are you planning to open it? Is it just going to be autistic individuals or would you open it up to others?
No, we would open it up to others. We're going to probably, when we start, buying these homes, we really just want to help families out there that, are struggling, still taking care of an adult child with maybe the needs of a toddler. So we're really kind of looking to fill that need. And here in Northeast Ohio, especially, there just are not enough homes.
No, and I'm in Florida and in Vero Beach, and there's a whole group of us that you guys can come and we're ready. So maybe that's your next step. Anyway, so how can parents and caregivers or anyone interested contribute to Dylan's mission?
Dylan's
So
house.
we have, so our website is dylanshouse.org, and there's a link on there if someone, felt it in them that they would be able to donate to our mission. They can do it right through the website, and they can also check out and read, past fundraisers. I write a blog on there. We're getting ready to launch a podcast, hopefully in the next month or two, where we will be interviewing parents and caregivers and, people in the area that are behind our mission.
Congratulations. All right. So how you're doing it, how many homes will you be building? I mean, what's your game plan? You're like, now you're going to have one home, but you're going to have many, and you are willing to go to other states? I kind of put that in there, but I don't know if you said it.
No, we are. And, I also am a firm believer that people keep asking me if we're building communities or are we going to put all these houses beside each other. And no, I want these homes everywhere, sprinkled. These individuals deserve what we deserve, and they should be your neighbor and they should be your friend. So we plan on having homes everywhere and anywhere that we can. They're not going to be secluded. They're going to be included.
Okay, I know you don't know me very well, but this little song has been popping in my head the whole time that I've been prepping for our interview. But do you remember the old hit song by John Mellencamp, Little Pink Houses? So
Yes.
I came up with my own version. So forgive me, but it's popping in my head saying, little blue houses, something to see in your neighborhood. Yeah, for you and me. I know I'm not a good singer, but I'm like,
That's fantastic.
in my head over and over again. Rather than little pink houses, it's little blue houses, something to see, and they should be in every neighborhood, right? For you and for me and for everybody else.
So. They really should. Thanks for pointing. Yeah, because Dylan's house, we had painted blue. It needed some love when he moved in. And we have now decided that all these houses are going to be blue. So maybe we should try to get a hold of John Mellencamp and see if he'll perform for us and change it.
You go. That would be awesome. But I mean, wouldn't that be, I don't know. It just kept popping in my head. I'm like, okay, she's going to think I'm nuts, but it's okay. I don't, but
no, I love it.
No, that was like because I knew it was blue. So that's awesome. But anyways, listen, I can't thank you enough for sharing with us and your mission. And I think it's fantastic. And I think that it's so needed everywhere. Anyways, I wanted to remind the audience that, they're not alone and on their journey, that many people are facing this, and that can go to Dylan's House website, right? dylanshouse.com, or is it .org?
It's .org, dylanshouse.org.
And thank you very much, Amy, for sharing with us and telling us your story. I appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us. And in case no one has told you today, you are doing a great job, and be good to you. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.